People of the web, Avengers Infinity War is literally right around the corner. And you don't want to be the person who walks into the theater and doesn't know who all of the characters are. You want to be that person that your friends or significant other looks at as like an indispensable repository of comic book knowledge. Well, I got news for you. Without this video, you're going to walk into the movie and here's what's going to happen. You're going to be sitting there and Corvus Glaive is going to pop up on the screen and your friend or significant other is going to go, "Oh, who's that?" And you're going to say one of two things. Obviously that's Corvus Glaive. He's Thanos' right-hand man and he's the husband of Proxima Midnight. And you'll be the hero. Or you're going to say, "I don't know. I'm seeing this movie for the first time." And you'll probably be friendless or divorced by the time you leave the theater. So please, don't let this happen to you. I'm Nick. You are you. And this is Key Issues Guide to the Black Order. Thanos' Black Order was first introduced during a storyline to the mildly successful Infinity arc from back in 2013. Personally, Jonathan Hickman's entire run of Avengers comic books and New Avengers is a masterclass in storytelling that unfolds over a number of years. And if you haven't read it, and you like well-written comics, then put down that copy of Gwenpool and go read something decent for a change. The basic plot of Infinity is that the Black Order is a group of insanely powerful supervillains that Thanos charges with hunting down and recapturing the Infinity Stones. The Infinity Stones at this point are in the control of the Illuminati on Earth. So Thanos eventually finds out that his son, Thane, is on Earth. And like any good parent, he sets in motion a plan to kill him. All while the Avengers are locked in combat with a god-level threat known as the Builders, who created pretty much all of reality. I'm not going to get into the entire story of Infinity, but I recommend that you read Avengers and New Avengers and then check out the suggested reading order for Infinity to get the most out of that story because it's pretty good. But enough about that. Let's start with the fearless leader of the Black Order, and the only member so far that I've actually mentioned by name, Corvus Glaive. Corvus Glaive first appears in the prelude to Infinity when he sends an Outrider, a genetically modified assassin, to a planet where his master Thanos demands a tribute. Corvus's job is essentially to seek out worlds for Thanos to destroy unless those worlds pay him a tribute. This leads him to Earth, where he attacks the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning. After the events of Infinity conclude, he joins Namor's Cabal to help defeat the Illuminati during the Time Runs Out arc of the Avengers and New Avengers series, which they totally fail at. Later, after the Marvel Universe has been rebuilt following the events of Secret War, he forms his own Black Order before ultimately being killed a few more times by Thanos and Rogue. Corvus Glaive's powers are fairly standard bad guy stuff, with the exception of one feature. He's super intelligent, super strong, super fast, and durable, and he's nearly immortal as long as the glaive that he carries with him is intact. The glaive is also, as you may have guessed, incredibly powerful, and able to slice through anything in the known galaxy. Next up, we have Proxima Midnight, who has probably the coolest name in the Black Order. Proxima is the wife of Corvus Glaive, and please don't think too hard about them being intimate. Oh God, now it's in my brain. I can't get it out. Anyway, she, like her husband, is first encountered during the events of Infinity, where she's charged with hunting down Namor and taking his Infinity Gem, which he technically doesn't even have one. So she's a failure right out of the gate. Great job. At the end of Infinity, she's frozen in amber by Thanos' son, Thane, only to be later thawed out by Namor in exchange for both Thanos and Proxima joining his Cabal, which they do, and then they also fail. So 2 failures so far. After the events of Time Runs Out and Secret Wars, we next see Proxima with Thanos and Hela as they attempt to retrieve Mjolnir when Thor is deemed unworthy. They fail, and Hela kills her. 3 failures so far. Then she's revived, proving once again that death doesn't mean jack shit in comic books, and right now she's palling around with a reformed Black Order. Proxima has basically the same powers that Corvus Glaive has. She's strong, she's fast, she's nearly invulnerable, and she has a pretty dope spear, but it doesn't resurrect her, so, she dies a lot. Next up, we have Ebony Maul. Ebony Maul is one of the most interesting characters in the Black Order to me. He first appears during the events of Infinity, where he is dispatched in order to deal with the Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Strange. Maul was able to control Doctor Strange with his unique powers until Thanos' son Thane was discovered. Try saying that like 5 times fast. Thanos' son Thane, Thanos' son Thane, Thanos, I can't do it. Thane is an Inhuman, and when his powers manifested, Maul offered him a suit to help him contain his new abilities. The suit also locked him in a stasis, which allowed Maul to alert Thanos of their location. Thane and Thanos then fought, with Thane the victor. Maul then spent some time acting as Thane's mentor. After the events of Time runs out in Secret Wars, Thane and Maul run into Corvus Glaive and a coven of witches because there's space witches now. Glaive enlists the help of the coven of witches, which strips Thane of his power, leading to his and Ebony Maw's capture. During the following 8 months he spent apprehended, Thane believed that Ebony Maw would rescue him. However, at some point during that time, Ebony Maw had managed to talk his way out of captivity and fled. Ebony Maw is currently aligned with a chapter of the remade Black Order. Now, when it comes to powers, Ebony Maw has a pretty extremely unique power set in that he's what's called a persuader. He's able to control a person's mind and manipulate them into doing what he wants with nothing more than his words. He's kind of like Kilgrave from Jessica Jones, except an alien and very strong. And this is kind of how he's able to control Doctor Strange in the comics, and probably how he'll be able to control him in the films. He also has the ability to teleport, and he is, of course, a super genius like every other villain that exists in comics nowadays. The next member has undergone a slight name change for the Avengers Infinity War film. Call Obsidian, or as he's known in the comics, Black Dwarf, is the muscle of the Black Order. I don't know why his name was changed in the film, probably due to Disney being fearful of his name eliciting some negative PC response. But in the comics, the Black Order is also referred to as the Call Obsidian, so maybe they just didn't want to confuse people. Black Dwarf is the brother of Corvus Glaive and Hired Muscle. He first appears during the events of Infinity War, where he's dispatched to Wakanda, where he met a tremendous response from the Wakandan forces. Upon returning to Thanos, he was expelled from the Order because he's a failure, and Thanos gave him a second chance, allowing him to guard an area called the Peak. It's on the Peak where he comes to blows with Ronan the Accuser, who executes his ass with the universal weapon. Since then, Black Dwarf was brought back to life, of course he was, and is currently a member of the reformed Black Order. Black Dwarf's powers are as such. He is super strong, super dense, and has nearly impenetrable skin, except on his head, which is where Ronan hit him and killed him. RIP. The last member of the Black Order is Supergiant. Supergiant is the only member of the original Black Order who does not appear to be scheduled to make an appearance in the upcoming Infinity War film. That's not to say she won't appear in the future, but as of right now, I haven't seen her anywhere in any promotional material. If you guess that Supergiant makes her first appearance during the events of Infinity, just like every other member of the Black Order, then you are 100% correct, because that's where she first shows up. During the events of Infinity, Supergiant and Corvus Glaive nearly destroy the Jean Grey School for Learning, looking for Thane. She's later dispatched to Wakanda, where she takes telepathic control of the Illuminati member Black Bolt. She uses Black Bolt's powers to defeat the Avengers and take control of an extremely powerful bomb that were stored in the Wakandan necropolis. These bombs were being used at the time to destroy planets during the events of Time Runs Out. It's a bit complicated and I don't want to explain it now, but again, if you take my advice from earlier, it's well worth it if you read it. She triggers the bombs to go off, and the goodest boy of all time, Lockjaw, uses his teleportation ability to send her and the bombs far away where they blow up, killing her. She's later resurrected as a psionic projection with no physical body, and is currently a member of the reformed Black Order. Supergiant's powers are, she's an omnipath, meaning she's able to take control of other people's minds. She's been referred to in the comics as a mental parasite. In her resurrected form, she's also unable to receive any physical damage, as she doesn't have a physical body to attack. The Black Order is a relatively new group of characters in terms of comic history. They haven't even been around for half a decade yet, and they're already set to make a big screen debut. Personally, the run of comics they make their first appearance in is an instant classic, so as I mentioned before, check it out. I'll tell you that it's not an easy read, though. If you jump into Jonathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers run, you're literally jumping into the deepest part of the Marvel Universe. So you can either sink or swim, but nothing worth having comes easy. This has been Key Issues Guide to the Black Order. I know it's a little short, but these characters haven't been around for a long time. If you like the content, please remember to like and subscribe, and leave us a comment down in the comment section telling us what you think. That is it for us today, and remember, comics over everything.